Hi, and welcome to the Eat, Move, Groove podcast. I am your host, registered dietitian and wellness expert, Susie Kundra. I highlight simple, positive, practical, and doable ways you can boost your well-being. I like to call it going from science to simple, based in solid science, but simple enough to put into practice on a daily basis. And when life gets in the way of your well-being, that's okay. Just take a deep breath and start simple with Eat, Move, Groove. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to this episode of our Eat, Move, Groove podcast.
Woohoo!
I am so excited to be here with two amazingly lovely people. Julia Bordenero, my dear friend from the time we were born, I think so. Yeah. Back in Jefferson, Iowa. And Ira Levin, who is her amazing husband and partner in the Levins.
Correct.
And can you guys tell us a little bit about the Levins?
I like that. Can anybody tell us a little bit about the Levins?
We are harmony-driven acoustic duo.
Yeah.
And we sometimes play with an ensemble as well. But the main gist of what we do musically and try to do overall is to bring some harmony and love into many different scenarios. And we go in and out of various communities. We try to be the bridge between communities to promote harmony, as well as we use vocal harmonies to accentuate that harmony.
There you go.
Fabulous.
That kind of summed it all up.
That kind of summed it all up.
We left California 10 years ago, and we just decided that we put on our card.
Dedicated to making the world a happier place.
We didn't know what it meant, but that's basically, been our trajectory for the past 12 years now.
And I think, I think because it's both of us, there's a balance that can happen, and it kind of keeps the egos in check, and just, we're having to blend with each other and work things out with each other. And so I think that hopefully translates to the audience and to various people that we get to work with in various communities.
I mean, being married for 22 years, right? And then suddenly in the middle of that decide, hey, let's go do music full time together. And so now we're together full time for, working together, organizing together, singing together, writing together, being creative together, doing laundry together.
To laugh and,
right. So I mean, I think it has evolved into a truly harmony-driven life, It's been good.
Yeah, so harmony is a key part of what you all do, and harmony both within communities, and also I know bridging communities.
Right.
So I wonder about how you see music both affecting people personally in their own private spirit, I would say, and how you see music bringing people together or groups together. And I know, I will say, Julia, we have been friends, like I said, since we were young. We lived in the same neighborhood when we were very young.
Right.
Then we moved to the same neighborhood later on, and really spent our childhoods growing up together and learning together.
Jumping on the same trampoline.
Having the same fun, getting in similar trouble at times, as I recall.
I don't know what she's talking about.
But we had so much fun in that little town of Jefferson, Iowa, and we've been reminiscing here together about how wonderful that was to grow up in Jefferson and all the amazing people who were there. And that also kind of gets to the idea of connection and community. And part of what we're doing on our Eat, Move, Groove road trip is my wife Audrey and I, are connecting and reconnecting with people. And to be here to record this podcast, knowing that we've had our whole lives that we've known each other, is so meaningful to still have that connection and be able to keep that. But I wonder then, with your music, how you see that again affecting people, because it affects me.
Right.
And how, personally, how has music affected you, Julia?
Well, it's been my life. From Jefferson age 5 with Monica McGregor in lesson, forever, and then continuing that. She gave me an incredible foundation, and in many different ways. And so I didn't know where that would end up, but I knew it would always be what I was supposed to be doing. When you're supposed to be doing it, you can't get away from it. I've tried a number of times. It just pulls you back
Follows
in.
you
And, yeah. So I think, it's not just a matter of what we do, it's just who we are. And therefore that's why it is what we do,
Oh,
and it's
that's great.
very unique how we do it. I keep using the word unconventional, but I think that we've found our way,
Well, you shift with time, you evolve. But I also think about, like, especially watching the two of you and your connection, this innate connection, and so much of our childhood and growing up, we've had this innate connection with people. And as we become adults, we become very serious, and we align ourselves with, either political parties, religious, anything but
It gives us
all
an
of those things are
identity.
supposed to allow us to maybe take on more responsibility, maybe have more appreciation, try to be our better selves. But a lot of times we get stuck and, inflexible. And music has that way of, like, reminding you of what was our original connection. And even if we seem to have a divide between us, it's like we can still bridge this gap. There's a love that is between us that we've felt, and we can rekindle that.
It's that language. I mean, it's kind of a cliche or whatever, but music is what does bond us. You don't have to speak the same language. It's easier if you're both deadhead followers, or if you're both, which we're not,
But we found our
but
way.
we found our way. We are harmony people. We are
Yeah.
CSNNY. We are Peter, Paul, and Mary. We are
Simon and
Simon and
Garfunkel.
Garfunkel. I'm jazz. He's
I was like a Jethro Tull
yeah.
wild man, and she was into Rosemary Clooney and,
Right.
and different things, and that's where we met.
Yeah, when we meet in harmony. So
Yes. So how does your music build bridges in communities? And I know you've spent time in San Francisco area, you spent time in New York City. Now you're, up a little bit from New York City here in this beautiful town of Woodstock, New York. And how are you working with communities and within and between communities?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, every year we have what's called the Rally for Love, and we bring all the various communities that we play in together to try to get them all together, and we just uplift everybody musically and then through visuals and stuff. But it's also, again, just awakening that space and that understanding of, there's always something more. There's always more wonder. There's always more and I think that what happens is, I always think of it concentrically, like circular. If you have your roots and you're okay and you feel okay with your roots, you can branch out. You can feel okay. You know what I mean? Like, and it's often a game of semantics, because it's like, oh, you have a different vocabulary word. But if I'm mindful of that, and we're mindful of that, then we can use the right words. And like when we're working with lyrics and stuff, Julia will be like, this word is very exclusive, and can it be more inclusive? Is there something that will allow people, a lot of people will be able to expand their perspective if they don't feel threatened, or if they don't feel like, oh, you're asking me to leave my circle,
right?
As opposed to say, well, let's just expand our circles and stay safe in the center, and you're still centered and rooted.
I mean, it's been, our bridging communities isn't necessarily an active process. It's a little bit more passive, and it comes through our music. And so our music is really can tend to be a bit anthemic and positive, so it's easy to connect to, no matter what circle. It could be this peace circle, this spiritual circle, this general community place. That song will go, or most of our music will be able to transcend all of them. So that's, we're not necessarily building bridges actively between communities, but our music definitely brings communities together and allows them to be in the same space. So that is not something we did on purpose. It was just something that was where we were coming from, two very different backgrounds.
Mhm.
And that's where it's our form of, I'm not going to say therapy, but it's our form of working through things. You sit down with a song and you realize by the end of the song, we've worked out whatever issues were coming up for us, whether, environmentally, nationally, personally, whatever, communally. That's where our music goes. So
Mhm.
we are able to be who we are in whatever community we go into, and they don't feel like we are something that doesn't belong. So that's comforting.
Yeah, I keep thinking that as opposed to being other, you're together as far as bringing people together with your music, which is so uplifting, so positive. And I think we just need that. And when we talk about the broader world of wellness, and even with Eat, Move, Groove, thinking about this groove being the
Yeah.
base
Right,
of
yeah.
our wellness, of our personal care. You mentioned earlier when we were talking, Julia, about, what's really at the core of all of us is our spirit.
Right.
And that's going to mean different things to different people to nurture your spirit. But being mindful of that what's inside is what's most important, and how we care for that, I think, is just a lovely thing to remind ourselves of in terms of our positivity and gratitude
Right.
every day.
And so, I mean, over the years, even that little, whether it's the music that's coming through on the radio, or the book that we're listening to as we drive, or the meals that we partake in, or snacks that we bring along, or whatever, even the clothes you wear while you're driving on the road a lot, it all matters, and I think that you get it right sometimes, you get it perfect sometimes, you get bits and pieces going well. I think it's just understanding that there is that beautiful, constant place of peace to go back to, to go back to. We know we
Get
have
back to
it.
center.
We might be
when
off
you're
sometimes,
going to
but we
go
know
off
where
and
we
then come
go
back,
to.
go off and come back. So you're
Yes.
not feeling that need to be perfect or have it all together all the time, because you're just,
Right.
or feel really bad that, oh, I lost it. It's like, okay, but now come back, and
Yes.
now come back. And that,
Yeah.
how long did it take? So it wasn't very long,
Mhm.
or that one, that was a long time, but also that recognition of, like, when you have something healthy or you're eating a good meal, and then you're like, oh, wow. I wasn't even aware of how hangry or whatever it was, that how off we were, but we just needed
Yeah.
something nourishing.
Well, I have to bring up that we had the most amazing breakfast here that Julia made, and we were discussing the ability of getting more vegetables, which in Eat, Move, Groove, we talk about ways to add vegetables, because adding fruits and vegetables at every meal, of course, is a cornerstone of the program. But you were talking about, for breakfast, sauteing, and she sauteed these wonderful onions and Brussels sprouts, and it became the base of our beautiful egg dish we had this morning. And so tell me a little bit about that, because the idea of, thinking about how you can blend veggies into your meals easily, you had some wonderful ideas.
Yeah, zucchini would have been my choice this morning because it's so pretty and green. But I think that,
I just
whatever's
have to
in
add
your-
here that I'm not usually a zucchini fan, but when
I know,
when
I sneak it in there.
like, she sneaks it in, and it's really good, and it's not, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm too aware of a zucchini, I might be resistant, but
Right.
not in this.
Yeah.
Right. But it's, I think we just try to find creative ways to put more and more vegetables in everything. I mean, why have spaghetti these days with just a sauce on it? Why not just pack it full of a ton of vegetables?
Tell her
and
about the
be-
walnut thing that
Oh, right. So when you have your vegan friends over, it's like sauteed mushrooms with walnuts.
Ooh.
And it almost, tastes like a meat sauce, feels like a meat sauce. It's very interesting for those of us that, kind of do everything. I can go vegan for a while, vegetarian,
our
whatever.
friend calls it a flexitarian.
Yes,
Flexitarian. Right. Right.
We have everybody coming in that have their own needs. So,
Yeah.
veggies is the one thing that people don't argue about. They all
Right.
If
love
they're
them.
prepared.
Yes. Yes.
That's fair.
Yes.
Fair enough.
I mean, we grew up with the mushy, vegetable in a can, which was, we have horror stories of,
Yeah.
Right.
that sort of thing. In fact, me and my sister made a pact that we would never eat asparagus because we were served that, in a can. It was mushy and horrible. And then I came home and I had tasted, fresh asparagus with hollandaise sauce. She thought I was a traitor, but when she then tried it herself, she
Well, and we grew up in an era that you only knew what a head of lettuce looked like, right?
Right.
A green,
Right.
just a
iceberg
plain old
lettuce.
iceberg lettuce.
Yeah.
And so when you go out other places, it took me a long time to get, interested in any other kind of
Yeah.
leafy
Butter
green,
lettuce.
Mhm.
anything. Butter lettuce is still kind of cheating, but it's, but I don't know. We just try to pack it in wherever we can.
Yeah.
Whatever's in the fridge, get rid of it, put it in whatever you're
Salad
doing.
pizza.
Salad pizza.
Yes. Salad pizza. Add salad on your
Love
pizza. We were
that.
talking about that.
Yeah.
And, just being aware, we've been traveling too, coming
Right.
to you
Right.
from the Midwest. And I was so happy to see that in the rest stops or the service areas in the state of New York, they partnered with local farmers. So at every service stop, we were
Yeah,
able
that's
to
new.
get
That's good.
peaches, which we had this morning, which were
They were
amazing.
so
Excellent.
good.
Nectarines and tomatoes. And so I just love that because that made it, easy on the road to grab more produce. So, there's all kinds of things to be open to. And when you're traveling all over the world, and I know you're going to be going to Ireland next year, and that's very exciting. It gives us an opportunity to try new foods too, which is great.
Right.
And like you said, we kind of grew up with probably a limited palate because of what was
Right.
available. And but that's one of the biggest joys for me of life is trying new foods and trying things that are different. But tell us a little bit about your new album that will be coming out, and we will be very much looking forward to that.
So I have to change my mind from, I'm getting ready to say that we grew up where Jell-O was a salad.
Yes, yes.
To our new, to the new album.
In my home, it was Jell-O with green olives
Right.
and celery at
Oh,
times.
there you go.
Right.
That was a
At
tough
times,
one.
That
So
was a
there you
tough
go.
one.
That was a
Yeah.
tough one.
What was our favorite? We had iceberg lettuce and Marie's ranch dressing
Right.
and Fritos.
Right.
Oh,
And that
yeah.
was, that's at least a little bit better.
Yeah, no, it was great. We loved it. I didn't. Yeah.
So our new album,
Our new album
is kind of like that, a little less Jell-O and a little less Fritos, and a little more.
Although Fritos, when you're looking at a snack, is really just the corn. and
Yeah,
salt,
that was pretty good.
Yeah, we're
It's not a
mixing
lot
it
of
right
additives.
now. We're mixing it right now. So I don't necessarily have a good idea other than I'm enjoying
The process.
the process.
Yeah,
The
we've
music
taken our
feels
time
good.
to be able to make it. We've used, in terms of the harmony driven, we've used some of our friends from across the country who have donated parts and this blending all together, and it's just really
California and Texas. Our
yeah.
cellist is in Texas. Our
Guitar
guitarist
player
is
in
in California.
California.
So that's been fun to bring people in.
different things. But we're calling it Knowing When, which is really about. We have this thing between us, like if we're thinking about somebody, we make an effort to call them or to just text them or just to give a short acknowledgement
I'll be
because you
like-
just don't know when somebody might be having a hard time. And, we all go through it. This has been tough times, I think, for everybody in their own way. And there's a lot of uncertainty and anxiety that, people we're holding in different ways. So that reaching out, you just never know the effect that you're having on somebody. And then when you need it and somebody calls and it's like that gratitude and that acknowledgement,
Even just a text.
Yeah.
Just thinking about
so,
you.
and it's not like, when we think about like this, we have the song about knowing when, and it's like, you can be going through a hard time and then you don't want, it's a stigma. You don't want people to think, oh, I'm going through a tough time. So you kind of stay stoic, but it's like, we're all going through it. And so being vulnerable and being able to say, gosh, when there's a line in there, call me up and talk me down. Like, let's, just,
That's great.
let's reach out for each other and recognize that we all pretend to have it together. Nobody has it all together. We're all just going through, we're all having a process. And so I think that that's part of where it's at. and just finding a way. We're laughing because this album has almost like we're saying progressive folk, like a prog folk in a way, because it
We've
having
added a lot of
all those rich
instrumentation.
elements and instrumentation, but also just something the groups that I grew up with that like Yes, or having they had this very positive, almost other wondrous thing that was couched in
Moody Blue,
rock or other things that weren't like. It wasn't didactic. It allowed you to be wherever you were, however your belief system was, but it allowed you to have an alliance with it and to be lifted by it without feeling like, oh, it's not in this camp or it's not in that camp. It's just that inclusiveness.
And in terms of spirit, I think that this album is very different for us in the sense that we've created this kind of sound, created this sound that has really allowed us to put ourselves into it instead of worrying about, well, where will it fit on the radio here? Will this person still like it? Is this going to turn people off? I think that this is the album that we've said, it doesn't matter. Let's just throw everything in that we want.
Well, also trust the process.
Have a lot of fun.
Trust. Trust.
Yeah.
That it's going to.
I mean, it's our third, since we've been out here. And it's, it's never an easy process of doing this, but it's still fun. I say that hesitantly.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the mixing process, which isn't,
love the
I don't
mixing
like
process,
the mixing
although
process.
you're really the producer. I know you don't like to put that hat on, but it's like, it's not, we always say, album's not done until Julia signs it.
Yes, I believe it.
But this new album is really kind of a culmination of where we are. This whole world, this nation, this community, our communities, we've all been through major transitions. We've changed our lives in ways that we never thought was coming our direction, right? How did we make it through all of that when we were all in the midst of it?
Yes.
It's not my story or your story. We all had this experience, and all of our stories make this up. And I think that this album speaks to that. It really speaks to the fact that we've made it through. It might not look like we thought it was going to. It might be completely, that same song has a line in there that I think my path has been mislaid. Because this was written in the middle of the pandemic, and suddenly everything shut. We all lost everything. Our gigs shut down, everything shut down. So what's next?
But also that trusting of that process. It's like, and then when you go, oh, I wouldn't have thought we'd be here, but this is better than I thought it would be.
Right. Yes.
And allowing that to happen, and also just acknowledging that you're reaching out, or you're being kind, or whatever it is, allows somebody to go, oh, this is a better choice for me in my life. I mean, you might not have been thinking about going across the country with this awesome book and the band, and just like have and help, but you're of service. You're being of service to people. You know what I mean? And that, I think that we're all have such a unique gift to be able to be of service in some way that you're not even really aware of. And so when you do that and it brings you joy, and then that's an amazing thing, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I see it in you too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just like this level of excitement, this joy that comes with you off the road,
Yeah.
It's very palpable, and we understand it. We've been there. We know what that feels like. We know what it looks like, and we know what earrings we leave behind at the last place, and what bag of popcorn we grab instead of an apple. And we know and popcorn's not bad, by the way.
That's right. That's right.
Although you have to watch your teeth.
Yeah.
Watch out the kernels.
And I think one thing we talked about earlier was you two get to do this together.
Right.
And my wife, Audrey, and I get to do this together on this wellness road trip of ours. And so that's a joy too, that connection. And also then, of course, reaching out to so many wonderful people. But I have a request. Well, I have two requests. One is I would love to hear some music, and I know our audience would. And the other one is just a question, maybe before we go to the music. In the book, we talk, I talk a lot about 22 and the idea of 22ing, or, how do you 22? Is there one thing or are there two things that you do personally, maybe on a daily basis, maybe not, to support your own well-being? And I'll ask you both that. And I've seen a lot of it because we've been here. But yeah, I've already seen it.
Right.
But, you know, something that you might share with our audience to say, hey, this is something I do that may be helpful to you as well.
There's a lot of things really. And the daily walk and occasional swim when the weather's right. And so definitely getting more physical exercise, especially since we're sitting a lot. We're on the road a lot. So it's really important for us to build that in, and we feel it,
Yeah.
how important. And also at our age, it's what you're putting in your body has just become so much more important. And I'm such a visual person that, I didn't put the fruit in a bowl on the counter just because you were coming. I put it there because, oh, right, this is what I need to be eating. This is what I need to be doing. And
it's available.
I can't hide things in the cupboards. I'll forget about it completely. So
Right.
everything is out there to remind me that make these choices, make that choice. So,
Okay.
And putting fruit in a bowl is aesthetic. It's
well,
pretty.
that's
It
part of
looks
it.
nice.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Especially if it's, if it's ripe.
But it's a wonderful cue, because we
Yeah.
know if we put in these wellness cues or we piggyback
Right.
our opportunities upon one another, then we're just more apt to take care of ourselves.
Exactly, and make a better choice in the moment. So we, granted, we don't. It's not 100% of the time, but we do our best and
Mm-hmm.
find. And we're, fortunate to be with in a partnership that allows us to breathe into that space together. So, and that's really important. And we do
And
a
also
lot of
taking joy in, like when we're, going to have something that isn't necessarily as healthy, we're just going to enjoy it.
That's
You have
right.
to really just,
love it.
what they
Yes.
say,
Have that
the
moment.
calories don't count as much if you're having a great
No, it's just, you gotta have fun in
You gotta have
between.
fun.
You gotta
Right.
do it. The love. We have to put
Yeah.
in the love foods.
That's right. The love
Sure.
foods. And that is really important, because the main reason we like to eat food is because it tastes good. So it all fits in there, and it is critical to find. You two are such examples of joy. And so to have that, emanate from both of you, I feel like that's obviously you're doing so much to take care of yourselves and the world, because it just flows out of you both.
No. It's the fact that you call that love food,
Mm.
that special, that time. It's not you've taken away all of the
Stigma and
shame,
the shame,
the stigma, the discontent around it. And I think that that's really the core of how to remain joyful. Because if you didn't put in that love on a consistent basis, and if you take away all of that stuff on the outside of it, I think
Making an
that's-
adventure as opposed to,
Right.
when everything is, oh, I'm letting myself down. I ate this thing. And it's like, it's not,
He's imitating me when he does that.
but there are times and it's like, oh gosh, yeah, we shouldn't have done that.
That whole thing.
Oh my God,
Yes,
remember that
we
old
did.
commercial? I can't believe I ate the whole
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
But then so then you bounce back.
But
Again,
then we get to drink margaritas
Cause all day long we're gonna drink margaritas. I sing this little song. We're gonna drink margaritas all day long. Who said taxes weren't fun? We could change that to moving or whatever.
But
Yeah,
yes,
I love it. I love it.
But and the cosmic balance of it all. There's a balance. If it's too much of one thing, and we used to laugh in college. It's like, oh God, we got to go back to the party. It's like, it's like you want to shift things up so that it's again. Do you get actual joy out of it, and can you celebrate life in the most wonderful way?
It's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. We are going to go to some music because we want to hear some music from you. But it's been lovely having you both.
It's been lovely having you
Thank
both.
you.
It's been such a joy
Really
having you in our home
appreciate
and
you.
just to get to share with you, to hang out with you. And we hope that you come back through.
We
And
will.
check out that book. It's so awesome.
The book is awesome. I keep I got to the end of it and I thought, this is the one book that needs to be left on the earth so that everybody knows how to do it right. It's very all encompassing. It's very smart. It's a very easy way of looking at how to take care of yourself. So you did a great job.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank
very-
you so much.
yeah,
I had a
very
lot of
excited.
support. And as you know, as you were talking about making a record, I was thinking, making a book or writing a book, it's such a process. You just have to hang in there.
Yeah.
And but at some point it's done, which is really
yeah,
cool. So-
exactly. And then there's all the fun part. I said that this album was taking me a really long time because now comes all the hustle and
Yeah.
all all of this
Promotion.
stuff, all
The
the
work.
promotion,
Yeah.
all the work. So
Yeah.
so I'm being inspired by you guys.
Well, it'll be great. We can't wait to hear it when it comes out. And we look forward to hearing a little music.
Excellent.
All right.
Spring has come again, coming like a friend. Flowers in its arms as an offering. Crying in the rain, laughing with the pain. Let it flow through and away from me. Winds are gonna blow, summer's gonna show. Everything we know is an opening. Every time I wake up, there's a new day ahead. Get the chance to live before I lay down my head. When I'm wrestling with the weight of the world, can't let it keep me down. Won't let it keep me down. Won't let it bring me down. Colors in the air, changes everywhere. Embers in the ashes are glistening. There's no holding on, life is moving on. Offering a song that is lingering. Every time I wake up, there's a new day ahead. Get the chance to live before I lay down my head. When I'm wrestling with the weight of the world, can't let it keep me down. Won't let it keep me down. Won't let it bring me down. Finding what is still in the midst of the bitter chill. Morning is the mercy of welcoming. Everything we know is an opening. Everything we know is an opening. Every time I wake up, there's a new day ahead. Get the chance to live before I lay down my head. When I'm wrestling with the weight of the world, can't let it keep me down. Won't let it keep me down. Won't let it bring me down. Every time I wake up, there's a new day ahead. Every time I wake up, there's a new day ahead. Every time I wake up, there's a new day ahead. Every time I wake up, there's a new day.
Please welcome the Levins.
Run through the flood onto the dance floor. Somehow we knew we'd make it through. Enter the core of what we yearn for. We turn to something new. So many chapters, all of the like a struggle if you can't see our faces. We've come to trust when we're lost in these places, we'll find our way again. Lean into me, lean into the time. Understand a single life with two. Harmony and passion, and our chemical reaction, a closer interaction with you. When we sing, we can remember we are the players and the dancers, finding a way to band together, knowing the question holds the answers. We're lifted up from somewhere inside, with all that we have and all that's denied. With every step we get to decide what is ours to give. Lean into me, lean into the time. Understand a single life with two. Harmony and passion, and our chemical reaction, a closer interaction with you. So many chapters, all of these pages could read like a struggle if you can't see our faces. We've come to trust when we're lost in these places, we'll find our way again. Harmony and passion, and our chemical reaction, a closer interaction with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Eat, Move, Groove podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And don't forget to connect with me and join our Eat, Move, Groove movement at Eat, Move, Groove on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. See you next time.